Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. You can read it in my hand, hand, hand. Oh, I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand, sand, sand. I don't really give a damn, damn, damn. Got my pocket full of sand.
Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana Live. I hope you are all doing extremely well. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Over here we have, I have to come back so I can see, point with both my fingers. Yes, we have the awesome Tamara Gabriel, who has joined us for this collaboration event to help you all make and create better videos. Which, you know, I think it's a bit rude, frankly. I think my videos are perfect. To even imagine that there could be anything wrong with my videos. That's a very diplomatic way of putting it, I have to say. Well, welcome to Geeksvana as well, Tamara. For everyone that's watching, the idea behind this show is it's a little bit similar to the collaborations I do with other people. So, for instance, the professionals within the drone industry, where I want to learn more about that side of things. And as people know, I've gone on and done a few things on the professional side of the drone industry as well, which is awesome. So I did learn, and I first spotted you as a guest over on Ken Heron's Thursday Night Live, which you were having done that. In fact, I was on Thursday just gone, which was the 200th show, so I was on there for a few minutes, and it's a late one, isn't it? It's a late night.
There's no audio.
Okay, I've just pressed the button. Now, whilst the intro was playing, I'm now going to go very red. Whilst the intro was playing, I said to Tamara, what did I say to you, Tamara, while the intro was playing?
You were hovering over that audio button to make sure that I was on.
Yes, and I made a joke that there is a custom emoji that screams out in red writing "Mike," and in fact, people are now using that in the chat. So apologies, everybody. That was like the best, the most perfect opening to a live stream ever, with a new co-host, and I ruined it. Sorry, Tamara.
It's all good. It's all good.
No. I'm going to leave. I'm just going to leave you to do the rest of the show now. Welcome to the Tamara Gabriel show.
Yep, it's all me.
So yeah, so as I was saying, fortunately, I was doing a lot of the talking as usual at the beginning there, and the idea behind this series of collaborative live streams is to learn a little bit more about the. Again, I don't want to keep using that word cinematography, but certainly to us drone flyers and us amateur creators, from the point of view when I say the word cinematography, I mean, you know, just learning about the different types of shot, actually how to build a proper video, how to create that story, basically, because I feel that you know, obviously my talking head video saying top 5 rules of drone rules in the UK, they're pretty simple. You just write down the 5 drone rules and there you go, you've got your video. But really what I want to achieve as well is move to the next level and be able to put a video together that tells more of a story, that's got more things, you know, more what I would call dynamic B-roll, from the point of view that isn't just something I've pulled down from a stock site or something like that the B-roll is even telling the story as well. And hence collaborating with an awesome filmmaker like yourself, frankly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely different ways of shooting the B-roll, but we'll get into that. But yeah, even with like the talking head pieces, there's still bits of B-roll that you can add on to it to kind of help tell it's not so much a story as such, but yeah, there's B-roll that you can add to make it more engaging than just being a talking head. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because I know, and there's all these little things which I'm going to quiz you on over the coming months of, you know, is it true about the 10-second rule that you should change the scene every 10 seconds? And I've tried doing that, but again, if you don't know what you're doing, you just end up cutting from camera 1 to camera 2, camera 1 to camera 2 all the time, and then actually that starts annoying the audience as well, of course. So it has definitely it has to be that flow and balance. And one of the things that I'm passionate about this year in 2021 for YouTubing, for Geeksvana and myself, is actually finding my style. And, you know, going from the point where I'm looking at other videos and saying, okay, I could try that and I could try this, but actually building my style. And I feel like building a style of video, building a style of content creation, you've therefore got to know a little bit more about the nuts and bolts that are going on in the background and how you build that. So I'm really excited to learn about all of that, along with the audience as well, of course.
Awesome.
And just to let you know, or know what's actually coming up this evening, is we've got, as it's Tamara's first time on Geeksvana Live, hopefully not last, but first time, we're going to have a little bit of an interview and find out a bit more about yourself. And then we're going to be looking at a few bits and pieces, such as some tips. So we're going to talk about how to plan your videos and using shot lists, and also talk about how to get inspiration for videos. And then we're going to be reviewing some viewer videos, some very brave viewers.
Yes.
Sent in their videos for us to look at and critique.
Can't wait.
Yes.
Can't wait.
But the first thing I'm going to do with full audio is actually play out Tamara's video, which I will just, which is, this is actually your channel trailer. So everyone enjoy.
Cool.
When I started this channel back in 2017, I thought it was going to be about my journey into filmmaking. But along that journey, I discovered how much I actually really love comparing, testing and reviewing gear. And that's slowly what my videos have become about over the last couple of years. Testing gear to its fullest was something that I just did naturally for myself anyway, whenever I bought a new piece of gear, so that I could basically learn how best to use it, how best to get the most out of it, and just see what limitations it had. I do like to look at specs, as this is what guides my purchases initially, but ultimately I'm a go out, put it to the test kind of person. I want to see how something performs in real world scenarios. Walk backwards, walk up to 20 meters away. Whilst gear doesn't necessarily make you a better filmmaker, videographer, video creator, gear does matter, because good quality gear does make your videos and photos look better if you use the gear to the fullest of its capabilities, paired with obviously knowing the very fundamentals of what actually makes a great video to begin with. So if, like me, you like to get a good idea of what a piece of gear is capable of, and you want to see how things perform in the real world and not just on paper, those are the kind of videos you'll find on my channel. And I even throw in some useful tips when it comes to shooting footage and making awesome videos with whatever gear you happen to be using, just so that you're equipped with the very, very basics of shooting great videos. So if all that sounds good to you, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in whichever video you decide to delve into first.
That's a really good channel trailer, I have to say.
Thank you. It took me long enough to make another one.
But how long did that take from in production terms? How many hours would you say you put in from the concept all the way through to the final edit?
I don't know, actually. Probably. So I think writing the script, because I've started scripting all my videos recently, just so that there's no umming and ahhing, and so I started doing that recently, which has made such a difference to how I put the videos together. So I wrote the script maybe an hour, just kind of going through it and revising it, and then because I had the script, I just kind of went through all my archive footage and just thought, okay, I'll use that for the B-roll for that section, and use that for the B-roll for that section. So actually editing the video was quite quick, because I had that plan of what I was going to put together.
And I have to say, I found that as well, because I script all of my videos also because a lot of them are news or focused on the rules and that type of thing. I want to make sure I don't say 600 feet when I should be saying 400 feet or something.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure it's correct.
Yeah.
And I still get it wrong sometimes. And I've even turned your audio back on. I've just checked your audio again just for. But yeah, I find that actually all of the preparation that you tend to put in and getting things like B-roll together and that type of thing. Actually, when I'm writing the script, I do think to myself, I've now found that I've started thinking to myself, I have B-roll for that, or I have this that I can play over that.
Exactly.
And this. And so actually, when it comes to the edits, it becomes a lot simpler almost, doesn't it? Because you've put all the work in beforehand, basically, which is absolutely fantastic. I don't like one comment from the chat, Johnny DRC, who said, "My style is crashing," and yes. As many FPV flyers will attest to, certainly. I was actually out flying my DJI FPV drone today with my other half before we went out to dinner, and I only had it in what's called sports mode. Do you know much about the DJI FPV drone?
I have looked at it because it's one that I'm tempted to buy, but I've got to stop spending money. So I'm kind of like, just wait a minute, just wait a bit.
Just hold. Yeah. Exactly. And it is a fantastic little drone, and it does help you from the point of view that it can bridge you across to a different style of FPV. I'm never going to be a ripper, and I'm never going to be doing 3D or anything else like that. But it was interesting today, and it was sort of my other half's reaction a few times when I came within about a whisker's breadth of the ground, and I'm like, no, I meant to do that. I meant to do that. as I sort of wipe the sweat from my brow.
Yeah. Have you crashed it yet?
No.
Okay.
I haven't. But then I haven't been too brave. The manual mode has been at least 50 feet and above. I did do manual mode a few times, fairly low down recently, but yeah. Most of it's still in sport, which gives me that bit of reassurance. So I'm in the goggles thinking I'm Mr. Steel or Nurk FPV or something. I'm like, yeah, this is so great. I look down at my telemetry, I'm doing about 40 miles an hour, which of course is nothing for an FPV drone. But hey, I'm literally a hero in my own lunch hour, so which is which is good. So we obviously want to get to know you a bit as well, so that we know who we're talking to. Give me a very quick rundown. Obviously, we heard in your channel trailer there that your YouTube channel didn't start out necessarily. Didn't start out how it's sort of focused now. How give us a little insight into your YouTube journey?
Okay, so I'll start kind of from the beginning, but go quickly. So I started playing around with cameras like, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or something like that. And I started out doing photography, and then realized that you could actually just shoot video on these like DSLRs as well. So yeah, it was just like, oh, okay, I can actually do this. So I started playing around with that, and it's just like, oh, video, shooting video is really awesome. So I really started to get into that, and because I really like shooting documentaries, like watching documentaries. So I thought, let me try and see if I can create this style of video and like do those kind of videos. So I started off doing a couple of documentaries, and then I just started doing profile pieces for different people and some companies as well, which is kind of along the documentary style. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel just kind of documenting that journey of like starting my filmmaking journey.
Okay.
Because I wanted to show like behind the scenes, because I absolutely love watching behind the scenes. I love seeing how stuff's done, and just, it's just one of the things I absolutely love watching. So I wanted to kind of do the same, but I just found that I wasn't shooting enough videos to sustain the behind the scenes at the same time. So then I thought, okay, try and throw in some gear reviews, because I like reviewing gear, because I like to test stuff when I buy it and just make sure that it's, saying what it can, doing what it says that it can do. And then I also thought, okay, let me also share my knowledge of how to actually shoot better videos as I got better at shooting video as well. So that's kind of the journey of my channel.
No, that's superb. And I have to say that the behind the scenes stuff is always something that I want to do a lot more of, but it's so difficult to record something while you're recording something.
Exactly.
We had a special event a couple of weeks ago for International Drone Day where I flew over to our sponsors in Northern Ireland and we did 4 live shows in one day. And I wanted to make so much behind that. I was going to do this for the behind the scenes and that for all of this wonderful content. And, you know, and I think I recorded probably about 10%. And I'm only happy with about 50% of that 10% in terms of being able to use it. It is behind the scenes is almost an art form by itself, isn't it? And
it is definitely,
you actually now get production companies who are behind the scenes specialists and will come along to your production and will create that kind of flow, which I think is, again, so
it's awesome.
It is,
absolutely. It was actually something that I was looking at doing like later on, is actually being that behind the scenes person that can go on other productions and shoot behind the scenes and cut behind the scenes videos together for other productions as well. So yeah, something to think about in the future.
Exactly. And I think it's always interesting the sort of the meandering route that YouTube can take you in, because of course if you're a professional filmmaker and you're out there and you want to make a documentary or you want to, you know, there's a film that you want to make or something else like that, the journey is so much more different. Whereas with YouTube, it's literally turn the camera on and make some content. People want some content, and now they've had that content. Thank you very much. I have some more, please. So you have to keep feeding that machine. So actually, what you end up producing, as you say, is sometimes a little different. So do you have a favorite camera at the moment?
So my favorite camera that I recently got is the Pocket 2, and mainly because it's one of those cameras, because it's so small, you can literally take it around with you no matter where you go. You can just put it in your pocket and take it with you. I wouldn't use it, I don't necessarily use it as my main camera. So it's more so as a B camera, or if I can actually set it up on a tripod and shoot some behind the scenes with it, then I'll use that to shoot BTS with it. And so that's, for that reason, it's my favorite camera at the moment.
That's cool. And you are making a decent amount of content on that at the moment as well, with the accessories. The one I loved the other day that you put out was the shooting better B-roll, as you were just mentioning, and that was with the Pocket 2. But again, a lot of value in that particular video. But yeah, it's good. And I know I think that's how Kelly Green found you as well, isn't it? He's a subscriber of yours. He loves his Pocket 2, which is awesome. And again, it does show that you don't have to have the £5,000 camera and the £2,000 lens and that type of thing. I mean, I started my channel with the Pocket 1 and then the Osmo Action after that, and I've only just upgraded to a Sony Alpha camera with the 6400, which I absolutely love. And to me, there is there are no better cameras. This is it. There are no more expensive cameras. This is wonderful.
This is it. Yeah.
I'm still at that stage with this camera, but in about 6 months' time, I'll be going, okay, so the S7 III is getting quite cheap now, and there's a few more on the second-hand market, you know. So
I'm exactly the same. I was looking at the FX3, I think it is.
Oh yes.
That came out recently, and it's just like, it's the dream, you know.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's kind of similar. I'm starting to learn with cameras, they're kind of similar to cars. From the point of view that if you know what you're doing with them, you know, a Ford Fiesta is a great little car and it will get you to the shops and back. If you spend twice the money, you will get twice the car. You know, you'll get a nice BMW or something, and it does a lot more for you. And there is, of course, a point where either the car becomes far too good for your style of driving or camera for filmmaking, or you're no longer getting that exponential jump in quality necessarily, and then you really are at the professional end. But I'm shocked at the sort of sub £2,000 sub $2,000 level, actually how many good cameras and lenses there are out there, and some wonderful combos that can get effects that you would assume were made with much more expensive cameras. It's
definitely. I love my because I use A7 IIIs as my main cameras, so I have 2 of those, and it's a great camera. It's I would like to, like I said, have an FX3 or an A7S III, but the A7 III, it does the job. It's really good, and you pair it with a really decent lens, and you get really good good quality, because it's more so to do with the lenses than necessarily the camera body itself.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, I've learned that very quickly. I think I've got a Sigma 16 on this one at the moment, and yes, a glass. I've even, you know, I'm so
good
new.
glass.
I'm so new to cameras with separate lenses with my ZV-1 and my Osmo Pockets that now if I want to sound to my friends who know nothing about cameras like I know, I say, yeah, you make sure you get some good glass.
Yeah.
You know, just to try and sound cool, but you know.
Yeah.
But hey, Philip Koshat, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really do appreciate that. Great subject, Sean. I find myself not getting enough great footage sometimes, and then too much video, and confused how to put it together. Well, hopefully, with our tips section coming up in a little bit, we'll be able to help you with that as far as being able to plan your videos and using shot lists, which is a good one coming up. So. Give me an idea of you as a creator overall, so not just as the YouTube, because again, as Geeksvana, as Sean is the creator, I'm a writer as well. I'm a YouTuber, and you know, I'm now a qualified drone pilot. From the point of view, I can go out and do missions from that point of view. What would your dream project from the video production side of things be if the perfect client stroke funder was to burst in that front door and say, Tamara, you're the video maker, filmmaker. You're the filmmaker for us. Well, firstly, if they say video maker, don't listen to them. But yeah, you're the filmmaker for us. We want you to go and make the project, your passion project. What would that be? What would that look like?
That's a really good question, actually. I think at this point, I'm really keen to shoot another short film, like a narrative film. Because obviously I do my YouTube videos, and I've done documentaries in the past, and I did do one short narrative, which was the very first one that I did, called Bye Bob. Check it out on the channel. A little bit shameful, but it's the first one. But since I've been, and I think it's because since I've been actually scripting my YouTube videos and planning them out in that kind of a way, not to say that a narrative is the same as shooting a YouTube video, but it's just that whole planning of the shoot and everything.
Yes.
So I really want to just try, and I think that is what I really want to do, is just shoot a narrative. It'd be awesome to shoot a feature film. But yeah, that's down the line.
Though. Yeah, you've got plenty of time for that. Yes, just remember us when you're making Fast and Furious 30 or whatever it is. And do you have a genre that you're more attracted towards in cinematography point of view? Do you have people out there that you think, you know, that's where my influences come from?
I really don't, because I like watching loads of different genres of film and from different directors and different cinematographers, and so I can't say that I'm influenced by anyone specifically. It's taking that mix. I'm the same as a writer that I don't I will watch and listen to. I'll listen to any kind of music, and I will sometimes find, you know, I think I found a death metal track that I liked the other day. I was really shocked. I was like, oh, that's actually really good. And you know, but then, you know, the following day I'll be listening to Justin Bieber. Yes, I am a believer. Yeah.
I am a believer.
There are some good songs. He does do some good music.
He does.
Yeah.
He has created some fine work. So it is. I'm very similar from the point of view of inspiration. That it's the story they're trying to tell, and sometimes what they're doing, and sometimes I'm attracted to some filmmakers because of the aesthetic, not even the story. And I'll just sit and watch a film. And I'll just be, whoa, how did they do that shot? How did they do this? And I'm not really, and someone's like, oh no, that person just died. I'll be like, who? I'm not even keeping up with the story, because it's actually it's actually how the thing was crafted that's so different. So when you're filming your YouTube videos, do you have a specific studio, or is it a spot in your house at the moment? Or
it's literally just my office where I am now.
Awesome.
So I redecorated it maybe a couple of months ago, and I actually painted a dark wall which is in front of me, but then I find myself filming against this wall because it's just how the camera angle works and it just looks better. But
Yes.
but yeah, I just use this office. I would like a bigger space because it's not that big. But yeah, just in here.
No, we did. I started with a triple wardrobe at my house, and I emptied the triple wardrobe out completely, and I moved the shelf down as a desk level, and then I just painted the wall dark grey, and I just did all of my videos against that. And yes, it then is the space thing you do then start as you get more tech and there's more cameras to set up in there and that type of thing. And what I like about having this space now as a studio is that I don't have to put everything away, basically. So I can leave the lights up, and I can leave the lights on the right settings and that type of thing. So especially for the live shows, it means I can go live pretty quickly and not have to worry about the tech. I just have to worry about pressing the button to turn the microphone on.
But yeah, that's exactly what I need. I've got this light that I keep up all the time, but I'm kind of moving it around all the time, and just it'd just be nice to actually have a space where it's just set up and I can just sit down and just shoot a video quickly without having to break things down and put things back up again. And
but the same way as you're similar to me from the point of view that you're like, I'll just buy that, and then I won't buy anything else this month. But that's for the channel, that doesn't count. Buy that. The space is the same actually. Now I've got this space, I kind of think, do you know what, if I could just have a bit more space, I could have this table, or I could do that, or I could do. So it's always the way, isn't it? There's always something else.
There's always something more.
There's always something extra around the corner. So it's really interesting. What have you got coming up on your YouTube channel as far as your next videos and content? Do you have a strategy at the moment as far as which direction you're going in next?
Yeah, so I've had a few people reach out and ask about just how to actually shoot better videos, and just like starting from the very, very basics of setting up the camera and lighting and getting great audio and shooting the B-roll and editing and that kind of thing. So I'm currently working on like a series of videos for a playlist that I'm going to put out on YouTube over the coming weeks. And then also I've got some gear that I still need to review that I've been sent. So
anything exciting?
Yeah. A couple of bits that I can't talk about because they're not out yet.
Oh, excellent.
So that's cool.
Welcome. You have reached the point where you're getting the little thing with the little NDA. And you're like, oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Is it lighting, camera, audio, or go away?
Accessory.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
but that's
awesome.
all I can't say anything more about it though.
Yeah, no, indeed. I've already said too much.
Yeah.
I have one friend out there, and he is watching tonight actually. And we have these conversations on Facebook Messenger, and it'll be something that I know about that I'm telling him or he's telling me, and we can't really talk about it. And you end up having those conversations that I can't really talk about this, but. And then, but I can't really talk about that. But it's always very frustrating. And at some point, you have to say no more. Okay, so we'll move on to our first tips part segment of the show. And in future live streams, for everyone watching, we're going to break things down a little bit as far as very much how to create better videos. And this is one that I really do want to start getting a lot better at, frankly, which is planning my videos and using shot lists, because as I say, at the moment my planning is really the script, and that's pretty much it. My video is then built around the script, but not in a creative sense, much more almost I feel in too much of a stagnant sense. And it becomes too tied down to that. How would you actually plan a video?
Okay, so I start with the script. And then so as I mentioned earlier, there are two ways of shooting that you can shoot B-roll. You can kind of shoot the B-roll to what you're saying. So as a literal example, I'm going out and I'm taking out the bins. You can literally shoot that, taking out the bins.
That's a great way of doing it. Yeah, that's a great yeah, absolutely.
Or you can shoot this other layer, which is kind of telling the story of someone, I don't know, waking up. This is their daily routine of going to take out the bins, not just this section of I'm taking out the bins, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so with my depending on what kind of video I'm shooting for YouTube, I'll do one of the two ways of shooting the B-roll. But the script is definitely the start of actually writing the shot list, because I'll write my scripts, and then I'll go through and I'll actually highlight the sections that I want to put the B-roll to. And then that becomes my loose shot list, if that makes sense.
Completely.
Yeah.
In actual fact, not to interrupt you, but I am interrupting you. I watched a training video from Marcus Brownlee recently, and he actually does the same thing. He bolds anything where he's not talking, that he feels he won't be talking to camera on. He puts that on in bold, so he knows how to talk differently and to perhaps be a bit more engaging because he won't be on camera, and which parts need B-roll, etc. So it's interesting you do something quite similar.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. So that is my process for shooting, for writing my shot list. And then I'll kind of, with the shot list, just go through and maybe just add some extra bits that could go along with the actions that I'm doing. So, for example, what video have I shot recently that I could... I shot a Pocket 2 video, the one which I talked about how to shoot B-roll.
Yes.
And for that, I wrote my script and then did my highlighting of the different bits that I wanted to use as B-roll. And then I just thought about those shots as a story. Even though it was a really simple sequence, it was like, okay, here's my little sister walking from one place to the other, and then just kind of showing what shots that I could put in between the...
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm explaining it very well.
No, you are. For someone that doesn't live stream yet an awful lot, you're doing extremely well. So it's a different process as well, isn't it? It's like, okay, am I meandering or am I not meandering? And then you think to yourself, hang on, now I'm thinking about if I'm meandering, and now I've gone off my point. So I do it all the time, and don't worry, no one notices.
Okay.
But no, you're doing fine. And it is that difference of the B-roll as well that I notice. And it's what you were saying about, like, the B-roll of, okay, today we're going to be talking about taking out your bins. And you literally cut to me with 2 bins in my hands running down my driveway. But then there is that storytelling B-roll, like you say, of someone waking up and perhaps the alarm's going off and it says bin day on the alarm or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it is that storytelling B-roll, which of course is so much more engaging.
Yeah.
Because you want to know the next segment as someone that's watching it, as an audience member. So I've already learned something very important for my future videos. Thank you. That it is that I really want to get more towards, because it is drawing the audience in. It is giving them something to come back for during the video. Because a little bit like, is it Hi Bob? No, it's Bye Bob, isn't it?
Yeah, Bye Bob.
On your wonderful video, which I've put a link to your channel in the chat. Everyone needs to go and watch that video. It's hilarious. And that's definitely one of those videos, because you know what's coming to an extent as well with it, because you can see the story building in the direction it does. Especially with a couple of the twists. But you want to know what's happening next, and I think that's the same with good storytelling B-roll. That it's keeping the audience in there. It isn't just I'm talking about drones, so I'm going to have 5 random, and I'm terrible for using stock footage B-roll. Which I know is just not as engaging as it could be. It still works, and at least it
works where you need to. If you can't go out and get a specific shot, then it definitely works where it needs to. No,
indeed. But and I think I'm actually going to start having B-roll days, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go out and I'm not going to film any main camera whatsoever. I'm going to make lots of B-roll of my drones, lots of B-roll of my different tech and that type of thing, in nice sunny different locations, etc. And actually have those days. And I'm looking forward to that, because I think it's exciting because it's building something which is going to make the content a bit richer and a little bit more storytelling. But I really like that idea. So the scripting is essentially becoming the planning of the video, but then from that you're then going to get your shot list, and then from the shot list you're also then going to build your B-roll story effectively and decide if there is a B-roll story or if it's just standard B-roll that you're going to use.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's really interesting. I think that's a good way of doing it. as far as deciding things like shots and that type of thing, do you at that point then decide, okay, these 3 shots are going to be in studio, these 3 I'm going to go and stand in the garden or stand in a field or wherever it may be? Is that the point where you would decide where you're going to actually situate the filming, etc.?
Yeah, so once I've got that list, I'll make another list, or a top list and then a sub list. Yeah, so the shot list become the sub list, and then I'll have like shoot indoors in this room, or shoot outdoors at this location, or outdoors at this location. And then I'll take the actual list and put certain shots in those different categories of where I'm going to shoot. So
yeah,
so then I have a very clear, specific idea of where each shot is going to be filmed.
And then I suppose you're also saving time as well from the and also setup as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to film X in the office and X of them outside, you can just film them all together and be able to edit them a little bit later. Whereas perhaps if you weren't prepared and have a shot list, you'd be, okay, I'm going to film this bit in the office. Now I'm going to go outside and film this bit. Then I'm going to come back.
Yeah,
and film
then you
this
come
bit
back into the office, and then it just makes it so much easier. It's like the other day I was shooting something in here, and I knew that I wanted to shoot a few shots against the dark wall and then a few shots towards this wall. And so I wrote all that out, and then I just shot the bulk of the shots against the white wall, and then the bulk of the shots against the dark wall, and then the shots on the floor, so that I didn't have to keep moving my camera up and down. And
indeed.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between because I have a lot of videos that are very information heavy, so they're the ones that I think that I would really like to make those a little bit more visually engaging, so that people aren't sort of dropping off and going, wake me up when he talks about how high I can fly my drone, okay? And you know that makes a lot more sense, because then you're able to think about the different parts of the video which need to be more engaging and that type of thing, and which parts would actually have more useful B-roll as well, because of course different sections, when you're talking about different things, like when you're talking about taking out the bins and you're talking about handing the bins to the bin men, then that's a good bit for the B-roll. Because otherwise, without the shot lists, which is something I don't do at the moment, as I was saying, I do end up almost filming the same sort of very sort of monosyllabic videos each time, because of course I haven't planned. So I've just set the camera up, I record it, I say, I'll stick some B-roll in there somewhere. Yeah. You know, and that isn't really planning a video as such. That's scripting. Yeah. It's good scripting, but it isn't planning the video to be as engaging as possible. That's really interesting. That is excellent. Okay. So the next tip section is a big one, and it's one that everybody asks me all the time as well. Is getting inspiration for videos. So you know, somebody says, okay, my niche is gaming, and I want to make YouTube videos about gaming, or I want to create videos full stop about, and create content full stop about gaming. How do you get inspiration for videos? How do you get inspiration for videos?
So one of the ways is looking to see what other videos have been created, and just seeing what, you know, a few different people who are looking to shoot the same type of video have done, and then also I think about what I would want to see from that video, if it
excellent
if it was going to help me.
Yes.
How much information, how much content would I want to see in that video? And so I kind of make it based on that, if that makes sense, finding the inspiration for the video.
Yeah, no, I like that. So it has this video left any questions? I liked this video and it's did X, Y, Z for me, but actually I'd also like to know if that camera does this, or if that game does that, or and I really like that idea, actually, because there is a lot of good content out there like that, but there is, but
there's holes in it. Some of it misses things that you actually need. So
exactly, and if you've noticed it, lots of other people have noticed that as well. And it's always one of those things as well, of creating a need as well, a little bit, that actually if you've noticed it, then, and you make the video, other people will actually know that's a really good point, and I do want to know that. But that's excellent. That's it. It's a very good way of getting inspiration.
Yeah.
How do you get inspiration for your more creative stuff? Do you have hundreds of notebooks dotted around your house full of crazy ideas for different videos you want to make?
my Google Docs is just full up of so many different ideas, and I'll go off on a tangent. I'll start with one idea, and then I'll think, oh, this would be a really good idea, and so then I'll create another Google Doc, and then so it all kind of from one idea will just kind of spiral out into different and then just watching things as well. So, watching movies or, having conversations with people and thinking about things like that.
Totally. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, the other day, my sister mentioned about, what was it? She mentioned about eating something and eating it the wrong way or something like that. And I thought, that would make a really good, short narrative for,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just conversations from
and I see the same thing sometimes, and it is being aware of everything around you, and even as you were saying, watching a movie and that type of thing, and suddenly something will happen in the movie or something. You think, actually, I could make a video related to drones on that particular subject, and it's being open to the left field sometimes, isn't it? And it can give you something that's very, very unique and original, frankly. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for that. Now, in the future shows, we're going to be giving people some shot practice. So we're going to be explaining a couple of different shots, me included, and we're then going to have to go away with our homework and practice those shots, and then the viewers will then be able to send in those for us to review on the following show, which I'm really looking forward to doing that, because that, again, will be hopefully adding a lot of value to everybody's channels and content creation out there. But this week, as of course this is our first show, we're going to react to some very brave viewer videos. Very brave people. So we're going to start off with Stevie, who is from New York, has a channel called Capture Life Connection, and he does quite a nice mix, actually. He mixes in vlogging with his drone footage, and he tried something different today as well, actually. I'll just
I'm here.
Start this playing in the background here.
Oh boy, Eddie got his.
I'm just going to mute that there, because unfortunately with the audios we can't always use the music sources, etc. Yes. So of course we are focusing on the cinematography side of things this evening as well. What I like about this video in the opening is that there is a little bit of talking at the beginning. Sometimes I think when I see drone videos and it's straight into the drone shot, there isn't much context there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like a little bit of someone talking at the beginning and just introducing it. I'm not sure whether that's wasted time or not, though.
No, I think it's quite nice to know what the video is going to be about. Especially if it's a vlog, I think it just you just want to know if it's actually going to be something you want to watch. So
exactly. Which again, I think rather than, because this is great footage, but of course the fact that for winding back to there, he's actually talking to camera and explaining what he's doing here. He says that his friend Eddie's in the background there already with the drone in the air, etc. And now I'm going to get up and fly, and then bang, he's flying his drone. So he's telling that story.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I like that I haven't seen too many times is here in the middle. He actually starts talking to his friend Eddie Nunez, as a lot of us in the droning community know Eddie. Hi Eddie, good to see you. He actually did like a little interview with him about FPV in the middle of the video. Which I found that it's different, isn't it? It's a different thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's that's actually pretty awesome, because it just breaks things up a bit, and you're not just constantly seeing drone shots, which I think a lot of people will just, jam pack a lot of drone shots and then not have much substance to the video itself.
No, exactly.
So I think, adding different types of footage in definitely makes a difference.
And that's a very good point, because I often think that when I'm watching videos of some fantastic sites, which are all drone footage, I often I have questions about that location, and sometimes you go into into the little shop there or something, the little shop. What am I talking about? If you go into the office, etc., the information point, you'll often find someone that is more than willing to go on camera and have like a 2 or 3 minute chat with you. And even if you start with that, I've always thought if you start by having that conversation on camera, you can then go back to the drone shots with the conversation happening over the top again, etc., and just try and break it up a little bit, basically. But no, I do like this. This is a great video, Stevie. I know that he's put a lot of time and effort. I see him there in the chat. Hi, Stevie. He's put a lot of time and effort in moving his videos forward in the last 12 months, especially. I've noticed going from just drone shots, just drone footage, to actually having some context there. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very good one. Okay, so that was that one. Next up, we have. Let's go here. Oh, yeah, this is a boat chase. This is a much shorter video from Eyes Down Media. What's your thought process on length of video?
I think it definitely depends on the story and if you can actually keep the viewer engaged. Or do you mean like the length of the clip or the overall video?
100% the overall, because we're in a very unique space in terms of content creation at the moment on YouTube, where of course we're rewarded for watch time. So if we have a 1 hour video and everyone's watching 57 minutes of it, that will get recommended out to the entire world. But again, we also have this new sort of hashtag shorts, and which of course is very heavily influenced from TikTok, etc. And so we seem to have this sort of two-sided part of it. And I've always felt like with things like this type of video, I mean, this video I think is in total about 1.5 minutes. And to me, with a subject matter like this, I think that's probably about right.
Yeah.
From the point of view that you don't, this is really interesting, but you don't necessarily want it to go on, 10 minutes or anything, basically.
Yeah. I think with this, what would have been nice would have been to see the actual setup of like the person getting on to, are they on?
Yes. Yeah, it looks like exactly that. We can't exactly see if it's skis or a board or.
Yeah, so I think showing the actual process of getting set up and then actually getting to this point and doing the activity.
Exactly.
I think that would have been really cool. And it wouldn't have had to be like a really long process, but just a few shots of this whole setup.
There is a filmmaker, and I'm forgetting his name now, and it's one that Peter McKinnon loves. Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, etc. I'm forgetting his name of the actual filmmaker now, but he has coined the very quick intro of the cut shots that go literally a few seconds each. And you
Edgar Wright.
That's it. Yes, Edgar Wright. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think you could do almost like an Edgar Wright at the beginning of this, where you could just have that sort of few seconds clicking the skis on, getting on the boat taking off and that type of thing, and it would bring a little bit more of the story in there, wouldn't it? It would connect you.
Yeah, definitely.
But this was from Eyes Down Media from Andy. So, but overall, a nice shot. I like some of the shots like there in particular. I like that where it comes down.
Yeah.
Again, here we don't have any sky here. And this is just someone following a boat, really.
I don't mind that shot, though. I quite like shots like this, which don't necessarily have the horizon, but then as you're kind of moving out of the shot, or closing the video, then having that transition is quite nice.
Yes.
So that was good. Yeah. No,
indeed. I agree with that, because it sort of turned it from just a static shot to someone capturing something actually into something cinematic, from the point of view that with that it's just such a subtle movement of the drone and the gimbal, but actually it is very effective. And you do feel like the story's ending, don't you, when that happens?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that was good though.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, up next we have Robin FPV, and as you might guess, it's going to be FPV drones.
Awesome. I love FPV footage.
Do you?
Yeah. I just find it so cool just watching people fly really close to trees or through buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of the things that people are making now are just absolutely incredible with FPV drones, which again is why most of us camera drone guys are buying the DJI FPV drone to try and be cool.
Yeah. So again, with this one, the footage is really good, but again, having some different footage to start off of maybe setting up the drone and then launching the drone and then the drone footage. It's just having that story again, because it's great. The footage is really good, but then after a while, it's like, okay.
It is, and I think that you end up with things like there's a shot coming up. Like I really like the shot at the beginning with the dog, and I think that was quite that's a fun shot. There's something. It's an actiony shot, and then as you're saying, because some shots are getting lost. Like this shot, I really like, where it climbs the tree with the sun in the background, with the sun poking through.
Yeah,
that's really nice, but perhaps it gets lost in amongst all the other shots a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think just combining, if it's possible to combine some ground shots with the drone shots, I think that would be really, really good. It's like, what was it, a dog that was running through in the beginning? Yeah, it was,
Yes,
wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah. So if you could, get some some ground shots of the dog, and
Brilliant.
and then also just, again, like I said, just setting up the drone itself.
Yes.
Because I think shots like that are really cool as well, and it just helps to tell the story. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to go fly the drone, and this is the footage that I'm getting from the drone.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's a really good. Oh, that's
I like
very
that shot.
close.
That's
that
was
was cool, wasn't it? I'm going to
Yeah.
back slightly so we can get the full. It came out of a bit of a psychedelic transition, but yeah, that's good.
That's a cool shot.
Mixes it up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Robin. Really appreciate it. Something a little bit different, and then we're going to go to a more what I would, as a camera drone flyer, what I would call sort of more stereotypically cinematic, and this is of a dam.
Okay.
And this is from Thomas Logan, and I like the opening shot there. It's a pretty classic opening shot. It's sort of it does set the scene at least. I think there is something about that zoomed out shot, isn't there, that sort of gives you a bit of context about where you are, and so when you do zoom in more to like the tower and the bridge here, it gives you more context. You know where you are, that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Establishing shots are just so important to actually set the scene and show the viewer where you are. And so yeah, that was a really good shot. I really like this one as well. I just like those. Yeah, I like those pull back shots, or pull up shots rather.
Yes, and I think we have a lot of really good filmmakers in the drone community that actually, perhaps because they stick too much to their drones sometimes and just don't mix it up a little bit with a little bit of ground footage, that perhaps they're sort of hidden away almost, that they have more skills than they realize because of all of the time that they've learnt getting the the rule of thirds and everything else like that, and creating the right shots, and that perhaps they should unleash those skills on
definitely
a bit more ground footage.
Yeah, I think with this, it would have been really cool to see how they got to this location, because it looks like a really cool location, but I can't necessarily see the roads or anything. So
totally,
actually getting to this point would have been really good to see.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't have to be really long. It doesn't have to be a long sequence, but just some shots, some ground shots showing
exactly,
where that location is and how they got to the location.
That's interesting you say that, actually, because there was one which was put forward that we reviewed on International Drone Day, and it had exactly that. A chap put his drone onto TrackMe, and he was in all of his walking gear, and he went off walking up the mountain, and of course the drone followed him for about 15-20 seconds, no more than that, just moving slightly. And I really felt that gave it a lock-in sort of context, that I know what I'm about to see, if that makes sense. I really feel like the next thing I'm going to see is dramatic shots of that mountain. And sure enough, that's exactly what he gave us. He gave us some really good footage of flying around that mountain. So no, that's very good. We have one of your fans, actually, who's sent in the next one, Kelly Green.
Okay, cool.
This is showing a very different kind of shot. Because this is in his work as a real estate photographer, which again is a difficult thing to encapsulate, because you've got a lot of people to keep happy with this type of work. The realtor, the homeowner, of course, you want to attract the buyers as well. And again, I think there's a lot of very talented people that do this type of work. I have to get the advert in there for the estate agents. Every single American viewer now, estate agent? What's an estate agent? That's quite a nice reveal.
Yeah, that's a nice reveal.
Again, it had a good establishing shot at the beginning as well. This house is probably about 120,000 or something.
Is that what I would have with that, because the shot was like a really wide shot, and then it came down to the house. It would have been nice to see some ground footage, because you're kind of pulling back away from the house, if that makes sense.
So it started off with this really good shot, and then, as you say, it did the reveal.
Yeah.
and then sort of jumped away from the story almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think actually going in and showing, you know, some closer shots of the house on the ground, or just like closer to the ground, would have been really cool there. But the establishing shot at the beginning was really great, and I liked the reveal as you came down as well. So, but just thinking about the sequence of how would the viewer see it if they were actually
it's a really good point.
Going to the property. Obviously they're not going to be in the sky, but you know, you're showing that establishing shot, and then you're going, you know, lower to the ground, and then you're getting to the front door perhaps, and then you're going through the front door. I think that just showing that process of what the actual viewer would have experienced.
I think I've actually seen there's a channel called Original Dobo. I don't know if you've caught any of his content at all, but he also shoots real estate, and a few of the ones that he's shown on his channel, there was a couple actually where he used an FPV drone to come in from the side and then actually fly into the front door.
Awesome!
Which is almost the ultimate way of doing exactly what you're describing there, because of course it's all in one shot, which would be perfect. But yeah, I know I see exactly what you mean, because you do feel like when you were back at this sort of shot level, there you could almost have had it sort of after that point, as you say, go up to the front door and then jump inside.
Exactly,
and show what's behind the door, and then again you can go back outside, of course. As he does do, but it's interesting. So perhaps more planning and the sort of the building a shot list for each house as well, to sort of look at which of the points you want to bring out about that particular property.
Yeah, I think so. And again, just thinking about what an actual viewer who was going to see the house, what their journey would be to the house, and the rooms that they would go to, how they'd approach actually going through the house. I think showing that would be great.
No, exactly. But a really great video, and I know he watches your channel.
Yeah.
for all of the Pocket 2 tips, etc.
It was a good video though, and I liked the shot at the end, which basically flew away from the house, so that was really good.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of again ending the story, isn't it? Basically. So, Okay, we're done here now. Make your offer now. The next one is actually from Alex. I think I've got your name right, Alex. Travels with Rosie, one of our channel members, who's in the chat. Hi, good to see you. Hope you're well. And on their channel, they actually have quite a lot of sort of travel videos, which they link in with the drone shots. And this is one of the ones which he sent in to review. I believe, Alex, you'll correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I believe he uses the Mini 2. Which I'm always quite impressed at the shots that they get with that little drone. Frankly.
It's amazing. It's such a good drone. The camera's just, for what it is, the camera's really good. You get some really good results with it.
Exactly, and with the fact that obviously, you know, the UK drone laws are so lenient on it. It's really good.
Yeah. So this is a nice video as well. I like the different shots. Again, I think it's just incorporating more ground shots, just to kind of convey more of a story.
Yes.
Because at the moment, I'm not sure what the context of the video is, but it's just, for me, it just feels like there's a lot of nice drone shots, but then there's not much else to it. Exactly. If that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. And one of the things that I often say to people who want advice on their drone footage is I always try and bridge the description and the video. And bear in mind that 90% of people won't even read the title necessarily. You know, they're going to be attracted by the thumbnail. It's going to have something in the title, like it's the location they're interested in or something like that. And then they're going to be pulled in, and then they're just going to watch the video, and they will then of course be engaged or not. And often there's tons of really interesting information in the description and that type of thing, which of course isn't getting across with the on film. And sometimes a little bit more of that story, why you're there, that type of thing, would be good from as you say, from a ground footage point of view as well.
But the shots are great though. I think that the actual technique for how they're getting the drone shots and like the pullbacks and the reveals, you know, that's all really great, and not like lingering on the shots too long. I think that's really good. So
Yeah, and they're actually
Yeah.
they are very new to the whole YouTube thing as well, and drone flying. So again, I'm always impressed that I think it's only a few months that they've been flying. So
Wow.
I'm really impressed by the editing skills already and everything else like
Yeah,
that.
that's really great.
It feels like they've almost got a style coming out, doesn't it? Really, that there's a style forming there. So keep doing what you're doing and just try and expand the storytelling part of it, because I know that's important to them as being a travel type channel as well, sort of to show locations. So
Definitely.
but very good. And our final video is a boat, or is it a boat or a ship? Is a ferry a boat or a ship?
Good question.
Yes, perhaps someone in the chat will let me know that. And this is from Tony over at Fly Sky Drones, and this is a really interesting subject matter, because it's something that I think of the. We got about 35 videos sent in for this, and there were a lot of boating stroke water videos. I think it seems to be, the water seems to be something that attracts drone flyers. Obviously, there's nothing to hit when you're flying, of course, which is always good. But yeah, it is an interesting area to film, isn't it? Because of course you get the reflections and everything, and it's a bit different. Now, to me, sorry, you're about to say.
No, I was just going to say that the shot's quite long.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd just be nice to break it up, and if, again, I don't know what the context is of the video, but if it is just to show the ship.
Yeah, ship. I'm being told in the chat, 100% ship.
Ship, yeah. If you're doing a long shot, this is something that I talked about in the previous video that I made. But if you're doing a long shot, just think about where you can cut it up so that you're not necessarily just showing that your long shot in one go.
Yes.
But you just make the footage a little bit more dynamic, because this is great as for cutting up and actually making a B-roll sequence out of it, but just watching it as one long shot is quite long.
Yes, no, I agree with that. I agree, because you often get those, and again, even in the movies, etc., when they're panning around something, often it will be an orbit shot, but that orbit shot will be broken into 6 pieces, and in between those 6 pieces, there'll be shots of the people, and there'll be shots of something else going on, and it's creating a story arc. Whilst, as you say, not having a shot that's too long. Because I agreed with you there regarding that, because there was actually another shot much further into the video, and again, engagement wise, you have to wonder if people would still be watching. I fast forwarded about 5 minutes now. You would wonder if people are still watching now. Towards the end, he says the famous last words as he tries to find the shot. There is one really nice shot against the sky. I think it's about here.
Yeah.
There was just a little bit more dynamic, showed the boat sort of rolling a little bit more sort of activity with the sailboats and that type of thing. And I felt like these kind of shots were hidden away in the middle, and like this one here with the background moving across as well, etc. Just felt a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that this could almost have been one of the opening shots, if that makes sense, because it's engaging you a little bit more, and then come back, because to tell a story, you don't always have to start at the beginning. Of course, you can jump around, as long as you're telling a consistent narrative. You can jump around the story arc a little bit, can't you?
Yeah, definitely.
But no, still a great video. I always I intentionally, on one of the first times that we did any kind of video reviewing, I intentionally showed 2 or 3 of my first drone flights, so that I could just say, look, I'm not saying that I'm wonderful, and that I'm a perfect flyer myself. This is just advice as a viewer as well, more than anything.
Yeah.
From that point of view. So some great videos there. Thank you very much, everybody, for sending them in. I really do appreciate it. We've got lots more to review in future shows on Geeksvana Live coming up as well. I know it's a popular little segment that people like to see, which is awesome. As Ray Kelly says, you can always make better videos. Thank you for the tips, Sean and Tamara. You're very welcome, Ray.
Yeah, very welcome.
And Fly Sky Drone actually from that last ship video was there, and he says he agrees it was too long, but great advice, thank you. So you're more than welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there we go. The end of our first little how-to collaboration show. How do you feel?
Yeah. Good. I feel like I did waffle a bit, but hopefully
that was me you were listening to. When you're hearing the waffling, that was me. I 100% guarantee. So it's been a bit of a sort of a shooting you out of a cannon sort of introduction to live streaming recently with going on to Ken Heron's. You try to stream on your own channel as well, and now here, of course. So you're being shot out the cannon at the moment, aren't you? Sort of like,
yeah.
What is all this? What is this live audience that I need to speak to, and all this stuff going on?
Yeah.
It's a little bit crazy, isn't it?
Definitely. Keeping up with the chat as well. I keep glancing over it, and then just the multitasking thing is just definitely something to
no, exactly.
get to grips with.
That's something that did take me a little bit of time actually to sort of, to because you kind of get drawn across to the chat, don't you? Sort of,
yeah.
And you wait for the other person to answer that person. You think, oh, hang on a minute, no, I'm supposed to be presenting the show, not reading the chat. So thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to pop the link again in the chat because as Tamara was explaining, she does have that series coming up soon on actually how to create videos from the very beginning all the way through to the end. It's going to be a great playlist that I'm looking forward to. But also it gives you a different side of drones and tech to Geeksvana, which is why I think it's a good collaboration because you do a deeper dive into exactly what everything does and get out there and use it basically and show it being used. So again, it's fantastic from that point of view as well. So yeah, as I say, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I really do
it's been great. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to what we do in the future.
Indeed. Okay, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.